Welcome to the dark side of BEASTwriter. I am your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we're going to be discussing and breaking down Week 14. I know it was a bad defeat. Obviously, it was a heartbreaking loss at the end of the game. Game coming down to the final drive. A lot of questionable plays that didn't even have to do with football. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and talk about that. But I did grade every single snap. I did watch the film for 3 times, actually. I watched this game 3 times. Usually I watch it 2 times, but since we had extra time, I wanted to go ahead and watch it again and see a different vantage point. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the grades as it pertains to each player in the game. I want to talk about some players who really stood out, some players who really didn't really shine. And up to this point, as we head into week 15, I'm going to go ahead and talk about exactly what this team has moving forward. Because again, we talk about the sample size to pull from, and it's really hard to assess the roster when you're not giving guys live reps. And I'm not saying just give the guys reps because they need the reps. I'm saying get the guys reps so you know what you need going forward, whether it be free agency, whether it be claiming a guy off the waiver wire, whether it be going ahead and signing an undrafted rookie free agent when all your draft picks are used up, and then going from there, right? So we can talk about the draft class, we can talk about the draft order, but let's be honest about this. How do you know how to do that if you don't even know what you have? And so that's what we're going to go ahead and talk about. So again, a lot of stuff to discuss, but yeah, I'm really excited to hop on this live stream. We're going to talk about the game grades, the DOB game grades as they grade every single snap. And again, like I said in all my live streams, just give this video a thumbs up if you guys like what I have to say. Also, spread the word to all your family and friends, because we do run weekly giveaways here on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel or don't even have a YouTube channel, do yourself a favor, open up an account and subscribe to the channel, and you'll be entered for our weekly DOB giveaways that we give out on every Family Friday and Saturday. So again, I wouldn't be where I am without you guys in my corner. And like I said, it's nothing but good vibes only. And if you guys are attending the game this week at Allegiant Stadium, feel free to say what's up to me, and I'll be able to interact with you guys. I think that's what makes my job so special, is the face-to-face interaction that I get to engage with all you guys on a more personal level. You know, we can talk here on YouTube, but any chance I get, whether it be at the gym or in public, where I get to kind of interact with the people who make me who I am, I think that's what life is all about in terms of what we're trying to accomplish here in the DOB. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for doing that and supporting the DOB in my first year covering the silver and black. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We're not going to waste any more time. There's a lot of stuff to discuss, but we're going to talk about week 14, and then we're going to go ahead and take a deeper dive into week 15 as they take on the New England Patriots here in lovely Las Vegas. All right, so let's go ahead and break down the grades. Week 14, all right, so week 14 came with mixed results. Obviously, there was good and some bad. Mostly, and when we talk about the defense side of the football, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, there's some good things, and then there's a lot of bad things. And then usually week to week, you can kind of solidify what's the weakness of the strength of the team is. And to be honest with you, it's kind of mix and match week in and week out. And we could talk about the interior defensive line not getting and generating push up the gut when it comes to the pass rush. But at the end of the day, you can't really say that anymore. One, because you have a guy by the name of Bilal Nichols who's really come on in the last 4 to 5 weeks in the pass rush department. And with Andrew Billings out with a fibula injury, he's really has stepped up to the plate. So if you're GM Dave Ziegler and you're looking at this and like, hey, look, we need interior defensive line. And then Bilal Nichols says, no, not so fast, my friend, Lee Corso voice. And he's like, man, I'm getting pressure up the middle. I can do it. I can do what I need to do to generate some pressure up the middle. Now, what's the saying around the NFL? You can never have enough what? Good pass rushers. So in the pass-happy NFL, iron sharpens iron mentality, as that's the Raider way. You bring in Jerry Tillery, and we're going to go ahead and talk about what he did. But he's been playing extremely well up to the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, where he got penalized for 15 yards for a boneheaded play that had nothing to do with the game of football. Absolutely nothing to do with the game of football. I'm just so frustrated because everyone's, you can't pin it on one play. Coach McDowell says, yeah, you can. You really can, though. You can really pin it on one play, because at the end of the day, they were in it despite having that 4-yard offside penalty by Cleve Farrell, despite having that 12-yard pass interference penalty by Amik Robinson, which led to Deron Harmon's INT that was negated. That penalty, despite all that, they were still in the game. And instead of going from 2nd and 19, pinned inside your own 15-yard line on the 13-yard line, you move up to the 28-yard line and give them a 1st and 10. By the way, this clock was stopped. So what are we doing? What are we doing? As Julian Edelman would say on Inside the NFL. What are we doing? That ain't the Raider way, and that has nothing to do with the game of football. Knocking the ball out of a player's hand has nothing to do with the game of football at all. That's just called common sense. And so when people come out and say, that's Coach McDaniel's fault. Coach McDaniels can't teach common sense. You either have it or you don't. That's like you can't coach heart, right? Nate Hobbs plays with a lot of heart. He has a broken hand. He's still playing, and he's playing at a level that he can play at because he's playing with a broken hand. But yeah, is he complaining? No, because you can't coach hard. He wants to be in there in the game. Same thing applies to common sense. You can't coach someone who has no common sense whatsoever. And again, usually I would say this is not a knock on the player, but this is a knock on the player. Like, that's common sense. It's stupid. How many times have I said that word? Never. But it's a stupid, boneheaded play. Sorry, not sorry. Prove me wrong. That's a dumb play. You go from 2nd and 19 on the 13-yard line. By the way, furthermore, A.J. Cole did and put them inside their own 2-yard line, so they have to go the distance. Not for a field goal, for a fucking touchdown. All right? A freaking touchdown. You cannot tell me that Jerry Tillery's penalty did not have the single most, how should I say this? That was the single most important play in that game. Because at the end of all those penalties, after all those interceptions, after all those turnovers, after all those bad plays that were made in gap responsibility and run fit integrity and all that, they were still in it at the end of the game. And that's what it matters. Game is 60 minutes, not 56 and a half, not 59 and 3/4. Game is 60 minutes. So again, football is as game mental as it is physical. And obviously, Jerry Tillery didn't get the mental aspect of it, which is common sense from the shoulders up. So let's not get it twisted. All right. Chris Wake says, too many players can't earn from the offense. Defense. When do the coaches put the players in position to win? If it were only one side of the ball, I could start looking at players' thoughts. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can pinpoint and talk about the coaching staff. But again, I always say players play and coaches coach. Right? And we're going to go ahead and talk about that. But let's go ahead and break down the grades. Let's go ahead and break down the Week 14 grades. And again, we'll talk about this because it pertains to the question that you're asking. Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones is a man on a mission. What did I say after the bye week? I said Chandler Jones is going to rack up 6 to 7 sacks in the next 7 to 9 games. Literally said that's on this live stream. People are like, oh yeah, he can't even rack up 1 sack. He's sure he's going to rack up 6 or 7 sacks in the next course of the next 9 games. And people were laughing. And I said, watch. Because I grade Chandler Jones every single snap dating back to 2019 with the Arizona Cardinals, he always has one game where he goes off for at least 3+ sacks in the game. It's bound to happen. Law of averages will tell you based on the analytics. And if the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, just go into the past. And what did he do? Had a 3-sack game against the Los Angeles Chargers, had a really good game against the Seattle Seahawks, and now had a good game against the Los Angeles Rams. All in all, you cannot tell me that Chandler Jones is not balling out of control over the course of the last 3 games. I got the grades. 5.5. All right, he graded out of Seattle, which is average, right? But he had a couple of pressures and he had a quarterback hit, resulting in the loss of down. All right, so you put that together. You put that Seattle game, you put the LA Rams game where he graded out a 9.75 out of a 10, and then double down on those games with a dupe score on that in Week 14 against the LA Rams. This guy is balling. I mean, he's playing at an 8.3 out of a 10, which is all-pro level. Now, is he playing at an all-pro level throughout the course of the season? Absolutely not. He's an average player at best. An average player at best. In fact, when I run the grades, and 5 being average, he's graded out of 5.8 out of a 10. And believe me, that's a huge boost from what it was over the previous 3 games had he not played those. Chandler Jones is coming on. In fact, in my analytics, in my grading system, to date, he has 4 quarterback pressures, 3 quarterback hits, and 4 sacks. That's just 3 games, body of work. You name a player over the course of the last 3 games who had that kind of production, I'd be hard-pressed to find 5 players who are doing it any better. And I'm just talking about the pass rush. I'm talking about run fit integrity, forced fumble recoveries, tackle wins, being sound in your run fits. I got grades. I grade all the top players around the league. If you guys want those, I got them. not too many players over the course of the last 3 games have been playing better than Chandler Jones. 3 games now. That's only 3 games. But still, he's turning the corner. All right. Nate Hobbs, we all know he got hurt against Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Came back, went on IR, right? Came back and now has a broken hand, playing with a cast on his hand. It's really hard to press a guy at the line of scrimmage or get your hands on a wide receiver in any matter because you're playing with a cast on it. That's difficult. And so his grades has kind of suffered. And that's not a knock on Nate Hobbs. He's playing with heart. Look, you try playing basically with one hand and you tell me how you do. All right, now I'm not making an excuse for Nate Hobbs, but I'm just saying it does play a role because if you can't get a hands on the receiver, it's hard to reroute him. It's hard to throw off the timing. And it's also hard when you go in and coming into your back pedal because at the end of the day, it's all about leverage. And if you can't pre-snap leverage the way you want to pre-snap leverage based on the scheme and the rules of engagements that are being applied in front of you, it's going to make it really difficult to move laterally and redirect the wide receiver to make him go where you want him to go with one hand. I'm just saying. All right, but he has suffered a little bit in terms of the grades. All right, he was the most targeted cornerback this week. All right, the most targeted quarterback this week for the Las Vegas Raiders. He gave up 6 first downs. He gave up 2 20-plus big plays. And then he also gave up a team-high 100 passing yards. Now, am I saying Nate Hobbs is a bad player? No. Am I saying Nate Hobbs is not a great player? No, I think he's a really this guy is going to be a Pro Bowl player. All right, Nate Hobbs, I love Nate Hobbs. But to say that he's not struggling and dealing with that injury, that would be fool's gold of me, and I'd be lying to you if I said that wasn't happening. But I do like Nate Hobbs. And again, try playing with one hand. It's not easy. It's hard enough playing with 2. Take away one hand, but he's not complaining. He's not saying, Coach, I need to, I'm just not getting it done. No, he's gutting it out. You know what that shows? That shows that he has heart. And you can't coach heart. I'm telling you right now, you can't coach heart. Same with Josh Jacobs. You also what happened with his pinky, right? When he fumbled the ball on the ground, but yeah, the ground can cause a fumble, whatever. Went to the sideline, wants to go back in. Now he's dealing with the calf injury. He's dealing with all sorts of quad injury and now a pinky injury. But hey, he wants to play. That's the Raider way. Iron sharpens iron, man. No man is safe. Also, toughness brews competition because if you're seeing your teammate putting his body on the line for you, what makes you think that you shouldn't be doing the same? Speaking of injuries, Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow should be returning. We haven't seen practice this week yet because obviously it starts on Wednesday. We did get a chance to talk to Coach Graham or Mick Lombardi today at Raiders headquarters. I was there earlier today, and we were unable to talk to them. Scheduling conflict, something happened, but hopefully we get to talk to them later this week. But getting back to Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow, they're going to be coming back. That's good. But all in all I got to say is this. I just think that the Raiders have a lot of holes that need to be filled. Would it be free agency? Would it be the draft? If it was me, I would like to build through the draft. All right. I would like to build through the draft. Let's start with the defense side of football. I think you need an interior defensive lineman. I do think you needed another edge rusher. I don't know if Malcolm Kuntz is going to be, let's face it, GM Dave Ziegler is just cleaning house. You look at 2020 NFL draft, they just waived John Simpson, who went unclaimed. No team claimed him. All right. The Clemson product, John Simpson. All right. So you look at that draft class and then you see what GM Dave Ziegler is doing. Remember, he basically wiped his hands clean of Tyree Gillespie, right? 4th round pick. Wiped his hands clean of Jonathan Abram. We all know Cleve Farrell's fate. It's probably not going to be in Las Vegas. Josh Jacobs is, as the year he's having, we don't know what's going to happen with him. So it's crazy, but it's true. Like, the way the personnel is coming together is, look, GM Dave Ziegler wants his guys, and he's going to bring in his guys, and he's going to want his team. And let's be honest about this. He's doing a really good job for what he had to work with in coming in. I mean, if you thought that this offensive line, then let's be honest about this. That was the team's Achilles heels. And for Josh Jacobs to still lead the NFL in rushing, scrimmage yards, whatever the case may be, behind that offensive line, just think if he actually had an offensive line. He's not throwing shade about Andre James. He's not throwing shade about Jermaine Illuminor, Lester Cotton, Dylan Parham, who I really like. One of the lone bright spots on the team. Alex Bars. But let's be honest about this. If Josh Jacobs really had a top 15 offensive line, top 10 offensive line, he'd probably be over 2,000 yards rushing right now. A lot of the yards that he makes are at the line of scrimmage after initial contact. Go watch the film. Or behind the line of scrimmage. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about that. There's a lot, like I said, there's so many things we can talk about, but hey. Cuban Raider says, "Hey Nation, good afternoon. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love, and thank you for tuning in, and be sure to subscribe to the channel." So people were asking me again how you support the DOB here on this live stream. You guys can send me a super chat or super sticker here on YouTube, also on Twitter. I linked my Venmo account. Thanks to Elon Musk. No, you can monetize your Twitter if you link your Venmo. So you can send me I don't know what it's called, a super thanks on Twitter, YouTube, whatever the case may be. But Keeper Ray said that Rams game was so disappointing. It really was. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it wasn't disappointing. It was a huge disappointment. I was really, really frustrated with that loss. Not because, and again, I'm not a fan of the Raiders. I'll just be 100% with you guys. I'm not a fan of any team that I cover, but I do want them to do well. Because when they do well, I do well. And so why would I not want them to do well? I think it's weird for people to say, "Oh yeah, I don't want them to do well," but you cover the team. Like, don't you have kind of like, you get to know some of these players? Like, don't you want these players to do well? Like I wouldn't. Why would you want them not to do? Anyways, whatever. There's people that are weird. Robert Pena says, Bruno salute. We have a lot of people up in here. D Menace says, Jesse Cardenas is in the house. Raiders all day, baby. Number 7 seed. I like it. Like it. Raiders Raiders game recognized game. He said Yao would be a killer. Safety. I'm not sure if he would be a killer safety. I think if I was me, I'd want him more as a linebacker. I just don't think he has the deep speed to kind of play that deep third or deep half, and then also as a single high. And we're going to go ahead and talk about this last drive. It was brought to my attention yesterday. You know, what went wrong with the final drive against the Rams? What went wrong with the final drive? And people are, Coach Graham rolled cover one way too much, man underneath. And that's what happened. And then Baker Mayfield goes out, I'm surprised they played cover one. Man coverage, that's cover one. Or if you're playing a cover 5, it's 2 split safety shell with man underneath. But it was a cover 1. It was a cover 1 all the way. Sam Webb played with sound technique. He squeezed the wide receiver, or he was supposed to squeeze the wide receiver to the boundary to have and use the sideline as the 12th man, or quote unquote the extra defender. So you can kind of squeeze him to the boundary. So when he catches it, if he does catch it at the catch point, he's already out of bounds. He didn't do that. He allowed the wide receiver to have an outside release, run a go route. The wide receiver stacked the cornerback on top, and 27 got beat. Now, 27 was in good coverage. I'm not blaming this on 20. I'm not blaming it on him because he was in good coverage, but it was his fault. It was his fault because ultimately he was supposed to be the guy in coverage. There was some talk today inside Raiders headquarters that someone was to blame. It'd be Duron Harmon. And I said, I don't know. I was talking to a beat writer, not going to name the beat writer, but we're talking about it. And he said that he talked to someone higher up, and he said it was supposed to be Duron Harmon's responsibility to give help to Sam Webb outside. And I'm not going to disagree with that. You know, he obviously heard from someone higher up than the players. So yeah, okay. But but I'm looking at him like, if that's really the case, and it's man underneath, there's no reason for, in my thinking, right? I'm not debating. I'm just thinking out loud here. And I was like, there's no reason for Trayvon Merritt to play the single high safety, because if that was the case and it's man underneath, then Duron Harmon would have to be what's called the robber role, right? The robber role plays 10 to 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he takes on the underneath defender and kind of passes it off based on where that wide receiver from the opposite side is coming across the formation, going cross, what you call it, I'd like to call cross face. So if you get cross faced and he goes and runs a shallow drag route and comes into Harmon's zone, because Harmon is basically playing a robber scheme. He's picking up the underneath wide receiver. And so I think that was what happened. And ultimately at that time, there's a lot of Fuga involved with this. You know, I talk about Fuga all the time in scheme. So when Fuga comes into play, Sam Webb was left one-on-one, which I think it was one-on-one outside anyways. But now I could, not again, nothing confirmed, but if you were to say that Duron Harmon was the guy responsible for this, it would be a cover five shell, cover five shell, which is two deep, man underneath, and then you can play it that way. But it didn't look like a cover five because Harmon was playing closer to the line of scrimmage, whereas Trayvon Merrick from pre to post snap was lining up from the hash to the middle of the field as the MOF. I don't know. The Raider Room says, Loop Beast, Waller, and Renfro seeing the practice field. We hope so. Let's see tomorrow. We're going to see tomorrow. I'll be there tomorrow. We're going to give you an update on what's going on tomorrow. Robert Pena says, have you guys watched Netflix special about the ref that fixes pro basketball games that ties with the mob? Yes, I saw that. That was gosh, what's his name? Forgot the guy's name. No, I saw that. All right. What was Perriman's grade? Let me give you Perriman's grade. Perriman graded at a 9.25 or 9.3 out of a 10. Not bad. He was very sound in his run fit integrity, very sound in coverage. He made a nice few plays here and there, had 1.5 tackle wins in my grading system. Didn't have a missed run fit. Hey, man, that's a win in my book. That is a win in my book. All right. What else we got here? D-Man says, don't forget to hit that like button, nation. Yeah, hit the like button and also share this on all your social media platforms. It does me a solid. And again, people are asking me how you guys can support the DOB family here on YouTube. Well, you can send me a super chat or super sticker. And again, if you're unable to do that, I understand. Just give this video a thumbs up. That will help push the algorithm to other Raider Nation as a recommended video. So that way, when people see the video, we can grow, and then we can give out bigger prizes. Look, we give out weekly prizes. D-Menace knows all about this. And again, I love meeting up with my DOB fam, but love giving back to the Raider. In fact, what I do this weekend, so I didn't go on the road trip. I stayed back just watching the game on TV from the comfort of my own home like you guys. Obviously, we're trying to get super chats and super stickers so I can go to a road game, but as of right now, we haven't made enough money off of that yet to do that. But you know what I did? Boom. I went to the Raider Image store, and I was like, you know what? I was in downtown Summerlin over the weekend, and I went to the Raider Image store, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get some swag for you guys. So we are running a Christmas giveaway. Look at these. Look at these socks. All right, we got some Devontae Adams, and these are expensive. These are $20 socks. All right, $20 socks. I don't even wear $20 socks. I don't wear $10 socks. I don't wear $5 socks. Okay, maybe $5 socks. But we got Max Crosby. We got Devontae Adams. I mean, look, if you guys follow me here on YouTube and subscribe to the channel, you're entered to win this cool silver and black swag, which I do every week. All right. What else did I get? It's like Christmas come early. I feel like I'm Santa Claus right now. What else did we get? Ho, ho, ho. It's joking. Which, by the way, I love Santa Claus on Disney and the Disney Plus. We also got these. Apparently, these are really popular. It keeps your beer cans nice and cold, or your drinks nice and cold, so they're really cool for the game. Giving away 2 of these as well for everyone that subscribes to the YouTube channel. So basically, just subscribe to the YouTube channel and engage with us here on this platform. What else do we have? Ho, ho, ho. I also bought this Raider Nation rally towel for all you guys. Another one. So we're doing another one of these. And guess what? Let's just say you guys can see. All right, but guess what? We're also doing other cool things. as in we are launching our own exclusive DOB swag. That's right. Made by yours truly, made and designed in the US, just like our BWF swag, just like our Bay Rooted swag. We are now launching our DOB swag because you guys have been asking for it. Ask and you shall receive. So we are coming up. There's decals coming out with the DOB logo. You guys see this in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. We're coming up with that. We're coming up with our sweatshirts are going to be fire. They're unisex, pullover hoodies, top quality stuff, premium cotton, ring spun cotton. That's how you can tell it's legit. And it's a 65-35 blend, which is really good because 65% ring spun cotton, 35% polyester. So it feels soft to the skin, yet keeps you nice and warm. They're very durable. A lot of good things coming with the sweatshirts. We're also launching beanies. So we're coming out with our pom-pom beanies. We'll be launching that. So again, that will really help the DOB family. So not only are you helping the DOB family, but you also get something in return, and you're part of the family anyway. So why not get something where you can kind of show off to other Raider Nations? People go like, dang, man, that's a cool looking sweatshirt. Where'd you get that? Be like, oh, I'm part of the DOB family. Be like, oh, what's that? Boom. And here's the funny, cool thing about this. Not funny, but it's really cool about this. Is if I see somebody wearing my DOB swag, you could be entered to win free Raider tickets to that week's game. All right, so if you see me out and about and you're wearing the DOB swag and I spot you, boom, that's called Spot the Beast contest. And that's where we run cool giveaways like Raider tickets, autographed helmets, autographed jerseys on the spot. On the spot. There's no wait time. Cool stuff. Or you can just be like my boy D Menace, right? We can meet up, get to know you and your family or whoever. We have dinner together, take shots together, drink together. I don't really drink, but red wine I drink. Intercept Pinot Noir by Charles Woodson, always the best choice. Over at the M Resort and Casino. And this is not a paid promotion. Free promotion. Don't get paid for that. Oh, man. All right. Egalitarian says, what's up, Beast? What's going on, Robert? I like your avatar. I like that lion or tiger. Sorry, doesn't look like a lion. Or is that a liger? Is that a half lion, half tiger? I never knew what a liger was until elementary school in 5th grade when I had to do a school project. I remember this. I don't know why I'm going off tangent, but every time I see a lion and a tiger, I think of a liger. Because in 5th grade, it's 6th grade, I had to do a report on the Siberian tiger, which is extinct now. But Siberian tiger, go do research on Siberian tiger. Those things are beasts. Anyways, there was no such thing as Google back then, all right? And so we had to go to the library, and I was like, what the heck is a liger? It's like the biggest, freaking cat in the world. What's a liger? It's a half lion, half tiger. It's like, it's, I'm telling you, if you ever see a liger, run the other way. In fact, if you see a lion or a tiger, obviously you'd run the other way, but you better be on a bike running from a liger or a car. You better be in the car. D-Man says, I got my towel hanging in my man cave. Thanks again. Hey, you're welcome, bro. Hey, that's what I'm saying. It's all love here in the DOB, man. It's all love. I want to see it. Actually, take a picture. You have my number. Take a picture. I want to see it, man. I want to see that swagged out. And I'll post it. I'll repost it on social media, bro. I'll repost that on social media. And look, your man cave is just getting started here in the DOB. I tell you that much. I'm loyal to those who are loyal to me. Sam Tonka how's it, BEASTwriter? How's it going, Sam? Thank you so much for joining in and tuning in to the Dark Side of BEASTwriter Week 14 game grades as it pertains to your Las Vegas Raiders. All right. Egalitarians and humans cannot outrun big cats. That is true. But I tell you what, it will definitely test your MPH, how fast you can run, because I don't think anybody knows how truly fast they can run when their life's on the line. Robert says, I got the speed of a cheetah. After 60 seconds, I'm done for the rest of the week. There you go. People are tuning in, be like, why are you guys talking about cheetahs and lions? Isn't this supposed to be about the... Well, I guess we can go out and say, if you're just tuning in, Nate Hobbs has the heart of a lion because he's playing injured. I'm telling you. And I told Nate Hobbs that. I said, man, you have a heart of a lion, bro. Because think about it. You try playing with one hand, and people are, oh, Nate Hobbs sucks. He's this, he's that. Like, no, man, he's just injured, bro. Like, and again, if you have that competitive drive to succeed, you're gonna want to tough it out. Like when I played with a dislocated shoulder, I played with a broken arm, played with dislocated feet. I mean, it really don't matter. Like, you don't want to get taken out of the game. Why? Because you want to play. You have a love and passion for the game. And that goes back to GM Dave Ziegler and head coach Josh McDaniels for doing what? Instilling the Raider way mentality in the iron sharpens iron. No man is safe mentality. Do you want to be on a team of players who like have like a sprained ankle and be like, oh, I can't play, coach? Now, if it's a high ankle sprain, obviously that's a 4 to 6 week injury. But if it's a low ankle sprain, just ice it up and play. Literally, if you have not played with an ankle injury, went back in the game after halftime or something like that with an ankle, man, there's something wrong with you, man. That means you weak sauce, bro. Now, if it's a high ankle sprain, okay. But if it's a low ankle sprain, if it's a dislocated finger because the ball hit your hand too hard and you pop it back in place, but you still don't want to go back in because it's puffy and now you have a splint on it. And nah, man. I would look at you and be like, bro, you're weak. You're soft, bro. You are soft. Because let's be honest about this. I'm pretty sure all of us had concussions and not know it and went back inside. Back then, concussions like weren't as. Now, I'm not saying you're not a tough guy if you have. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying we've all had injuries where we know we got knocked out, and you're like, you didn't know you were knocked out. You're like, oh yeah, cool. And you went in the game and finished because that's what you do. The adrenaline's running so high, you don't have time to think, I wonder if what kind of injury this is. You used to be like, man, I got rocked. Now it's my turn to deliver the same initial pain that he delivered to me on the next play. Let's just keep it 100. But yeah, getting back to it. Oh, Chris says all our previous drafted players are almost gone. How can we have faith in a group that has not had a full draft? They can't even coach up the NFL players we have on our current roster. I would disagree with that. I think they can coach up the current players on the current roster. I just don't think they have the horses. I think there's a lot of missing holes here. And again, it sounds cliche, but an empire wasn't built in a day. And I said this before even Mr. Davis said it. He said this. He told PG, my guy, Paul Gutierrez on ESPN, that an empire wasn't built in a day. But you know what? I've been saying this since training camp, that an empire wasn't going to be built in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time to foster that type of. And people, we have Coach Bisaccia last year and went to the playoffs and we had lesser talents. Like, how can you, first of all, how can you say that? Lesser talent? I mean, okay, so Chandler Jones comes on the previous 3 games, but then before that, he was a non-existent factor. I would have him on the same level of kind of a, Ngakwe over the course of his time in Las Vegas. And then you take into account that the secondary, you can argue that Casey Hayward was arguably the best cornerback if he was to come on this team and the way he played last year. You can make a case that saying, hey, Casey Hayward is probably the best cornerback, boundary cornerback of the 2 rosters. That's just naming 2 players. And then if you want to go on the offensive side of the football, yeah, you got Devontae Adams. All right. But you still had Hunter Renfrow, but you still had Darren Waller there, but those guys have been injured. So it's kind of like a mix and match, right? It's kind of you win 1, but then lose 2. I don't know. And Josh Jacobs is the same guy. He just got better with another year and having a career season in a contract season. So I don't know. To each their own. I just think that Coach McDaniels and I think GM Dave Ziegler are on the right track and on the fast track to success. I think you have to give them some time because an empire wasn't built in a day. Kevin Lurker, my guy, says salute to the super mods. We have super mods all over in here. Kevin, I think you're one of my mods, right? I think I added you as a mod. If I didn't, I need to add you as a mod because I want you as a mod. Sam says, I'm surprised Jacobs played hurt for as long as he did against the Rams. Waller should take notes. Ooh, ouch. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I mean, there's some people, we talked about this on earlier live streams, and, the buy-in that Devontae Adams talked about, not specifically to Darren Waller, obviously, but the buy-in, how players aren't here anymore because of they're set in their ways, and, maybe you should gravitate toward the Raider way. Otherwise, you won't be here for long because you'd be considered a cancer. Kevin Lurker says, Beast, still rocking the Tide hat. I hope you're doing. I am. Roll Tide, roll. I don't care. Look, I went to downtown Summerlin, and it's funny. I always get either the dirty looks or people will say, Roll Tide, roll. One of the two. Either dirty looks or Roll Tide, roll. And they probably look at me initially, oh, this guy's a fake fan, whatever. Like Jared Stidham would say. But me and Jared's joking, obviously. But we like to joke around because obviously he played at Auburn. But getting back to it, we still beat you guys in the Iron Bowl. Holla at your boy. I went to downtown Summerlin. Funny story. We were in Macy's. Was it Macy's? I think it was Macy's. And so this guy comes up to me and says, oh, man, I like your sweatshirt. Because I had my Roll Tide Roll sweatshirt and my beanie, of course. And he's like, I like your sweatshirt. Oh, thanks, man. And he's like, oh, what do you think about the college football playoffs? Like, you know what? I'd be lying to you if I said I was biased and I thought the Alabama should get in over a team like TCU. But I said, I get the format. I get the reasoning. But if you want to pick the best four teams, TCU ain't it. In fact, I don't care if it's Alabama. Just pick an SEC school. Why not LSU? I mean, let's face it. SEC is the powerhouse. Like, it's an NFL factory. TCU is going to get trampled over, man. Like, that's not a knock on anyone from TCU. I'm not saying, oh, sorry, Trevon Merrick. Okay, sorry, LaDainian Tomlinson. Okay, sorry. Jerry Hughes, sorry. I think he played for TCU. Whatever guys played for TCU. There's a lot of good prospects played. But let's face it. Ain't no Alabama. Ain't no LSU. The SEC beats up on each other. Like, so of course, a team might come out with 2 losses. You have Georgia there too. Oh, yeah. What about Tennessee? Oh, yeah. That's not even naming, some of these other schools. TCU, I don't know. Now watch TCU win it all. Oh, man, remember the Beast receipt that you said that TCU shouldn't be in there? They won it all. Hey, that's why they play. But I'm just saying. Kevin says, I can't be trusted. Oh, you be... I trust you. I trust you, Kevin. I trust you. Oh, man. Leonard Villafuerte says, with Simpson and Cotton now gone and Barnes hurt, who do you think will be the starting off on the line for the Patriots game? That is a good question. You know what? We didn't even get a chance to talk to Coach Lombardi today or Coach Graham. They had, I guess they were kind of stuck in whatever it is, meetings or something. So we didn't get a chance to talk to them there. We were at Raiders headquarters, me, Vinny, Adam, and obviously Hondo. And then we were talking amongst ourselves and then obviously waiting for them, but they were unable to come out today due to their schedule. So I don't know how it's going to shape up. I don't know who's going to be playing on the interior. My thinking is, would they roll Jermaine Illuminor at offensive guard and then roll Thayer Munford at right tackle? I mean, that's an experiment that I would want to see. Look, again, we need to know what we have or don't have in order to go into the draft. Like, can Thayer Munford be a serviceable starting right tackle? Hey, man, it's slim pickings at this point. What do you got to lose? Why not? Why not? That's my thinking. I would slide Jermaine Illuminor to offensive guard and then kick Thayer Munford in at right tackle. Kevin Lurker says, Chandler has had 3 solid games in a row. Took a long time, but awesome to see the production. I owe him an apology. You don't owe him an apology. There is no apologies being owed. Look, no one owes him an apology. He gets paid $17 million APY to do this on a consistent basis, not just for 3 games. I'm just keeping 100. Could I do it? No, but I don't get paid $17 million. I don't even get paid $1 million to do it. Damn. So, He gets paid $17 million APY to get it done. Signed a 3-year, $51 million contract. So get it done, Chandler Jones. Get it done, my friend. You can do it. That's Adam Sandler from The Waterboy. No apologies needed. Look, he gets paid to do a job, and that's rush the passer. And he wasn't very good at it early on. And he shows up in his last 3 games. No apology is needed, because if he reverts back to his former self over the previous 9-10 games, there's no apology needed. No. My beast receipts check out. I said he was going to have 5-6 games where he's going to have 4 to 5 sacks in those games in that span. Here he is. He has 4.5 sacks now on the season. 4 of those coming over the last 3 games. So the pressure weight's getting there. I still would go after a guy like Will Anderson. That's because I'm a Roll Tide Roll fan. But, honestly, to be honest with you, they're not going to do that. They have too much money invested in those edge rushers. I think logically what they're going to do is they're probably – depends on Josh Jacobs, right? Obviously, if they don't keep him, they're going to roll Zeus White. I think they need to address – obviously, people talk the defensive line. They can go after Jalen Carter. I would like them to trade down, obviously. That's just my MO. I want more darts at the board. So I'm taking the Bill Walsh analogy and saying, you know what? I want more draft picks. Because there's no guarantee these draft picks are going to pan out. And if you have a strong scouting department, you can kind of fill multiple needs and leveraging not only your draft capital, but also the financial balance sheet, because you're getting guys on rookie deals and saying, hey, look, we can get 2 of these guys instead of going out and get a highly prized free agent that everyone's trying to pay and overpay for. You never want to buy a stock at its high. Let's just go out and get one in the draft on the cheap. Show me the money. So it doesn't matter to me what kind of draft pick they have. If it's a top 4 pick, top 8 pick, top 10 pick. Obviously, we have to see how the draft board falls, because if there's a top 5 player that kind of falls into the 8-9 range and you're drafting 8 or 9, you're going to get a steal. But which will happen because every year these teams at the top probably are picking at the top because they don't have a strong quarterback, and so they reach for need, diminishing the value of the pick. I don't see GM Dave Ziegler doing that. I think he's going to take a wait and see approach, but if there's an offer you can't refuse, and we can get more draft capital and kind of leverage the draft picks and kind of move up and maybe turn out maybe 4 top 100 picks, because again, the 2020 NFL draft is horrible. The 2021 NFL draft, we don't know what's going on. 2019 draft, we don't know what's going on. So that's 3 years of draft capital that otherwise we don't know how this roster is going to shape up. We really don't know. But yeah. On to Six Soldier says, did I miss your grades? No, we're just talking about the grades. We talked about Chandler Jones. We talked about Nate Hobbs. Let's go ahead and talk about some of these defensive linemen. Bilal Nichols, right? Graded at an 8.5 out of a 10, which is 85 out of 100. Jerry Tillery, again, whatever. He graded at a 4 out of a 10. He did really good in run fit integrity, but then he kind of didn't show up in the pass rush. Oh, he did, but for the wrong reasons after the play was over. Max Crosby, graded at 8.5 out of 10. Really sound in his run fit integrity. Also came up with 1 sack for -9 yards of hidden yardage. And so, again, he picked up 2 half sacks along with Chandler Jones to create that -9 yards for both of those players. He graded at an 8.5 out of 10. Chandler Jones graded, like I said earlier, 9.75 out of a 10. Denzel Perriman, 9.25. Luke Masterson, an 8 out of a 10. Cleve Farrell, 3.75 out of a 10. We all remember that offside penalty that cost the team valuable field position and time off the clock. Kyle Pecco graded at 3 out of a 10. Neil Farrell graded at a 9.5 out of 10. Neil Farrell, to me, was one of the most underrated players in this ballgame, because what he did in run fit integrity was a really set a strong anchor. He couldn't be moved off his grass. Did a really good job. Him and Matthew Butler, I want to see more from. Again, we have to know what we have or don't have in order to see what we want moving forward. And I say we, you mean the Raiders, because I cover the Raiders, so technically, yeah. How do you know what you have or don't have? You got to give these guys reps, and Neil Farrell responded in a big way. In fact, I would like to see Neil Farrell start next to Bilal Nichols with Andrew Billings out with the fibula injury. In fact, I'm not so sure. To be honest with you, I'm not sure when Andrew Billings is going to return. If I was to put a time frame on it, they ain't send him to IR. But if I were to put a time frame on it, I would think he'd be out this week because that fibula injury is no joke. Talked about it on earlier live streams. The difference between a tibia injury and a fibula injury, and the difference between the two. It's not an injury to come back from, and he's a bigger guy. There's a lot of weight just walking on it, so I don't anticipate him returning this week. Now watch him return this week, but I don't see that happening. I want to see more Neil Farrell. It's a good sample size to pull from when you can kind of get a guy like Neil Farrell inserted into the lineup and working with the ones instead of the twos and threes. Raider game recognized game. The draft needs to defense, offensive line, free agents. Waller's got turf toe. Church and self-made fellas don't mix, and I believe that's what Carr's next year. He said Waller will be here. Watch. I'm watching. He said that's a hot take. Kevin Lurch says, I don't know if you mentioned this already. Sanjit said we signed Natane Muti off Broncos practice squad. That is correct. I was at Raiders headquarters when that was released. And so, yes, that is correct. Natane Muti is signed off the Broncos practice squad. Obviously, if you guys remember, they signed a lot of guys off the other team's practice squad or off the waiver wire. You guys remember Billy Price, who's now with the Arizona Cardinals. Who else did they get? Jordan Meredith over the course of the season. There's a lot of interior offensive linemen that they kind of signed. Obviously, they still have Hronis Grasu, who I really like, and I liked him as one of the shining stars in training camp. And he's been kind of banged up throughout the year, but he's been elevated to the 53-man active roster. I'm really eager to see what Hronis Grasu can do because he's been one of those guys who I thought was going to make the 53 active man roster, and for whatever reason he didn't. So I'm really eager to see how Hronis Grasu responds. I think he's a guy who should be given a responsibility of not only as a backup center, but even trying to see what you have in him as an interior swing offensive lineman on playing, whether it be right guard or left guard. So Raiders game recognized game says we suck again. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Sam Tonka says, if Jacobs is limited, what would like to see Zeus being used as a pass catcher in space? His run vision is shaky. Zeus is, I want to see more of Zeus too, because if he's going to be the guy you're going with moving forward, we have to see if he can kind of rack up 1,000 yards or kind of see potential in him doing that. Look, remember when, gosh, who was it back then? I think it was it Charlie Garner and Kevin Barlow? Gosh, I'm going way back when. I believe it was Charlie Garner, Kevin Barlow, Garrison Hurst, and Kevin Barlow, one of those. And it was kind of like Kevin Barlow was the guy, but then Garrison Hurst was the guy. So again, past or future versus the now, the present. I don't get that vibe with the Las Vegas Raiders because we don't know what we have in Zeus White. And I talk to Zeus every day in the locker room. And again, he said one thing that he has to learn to do is be patient, right? Like, just be patient and your time will come. But at the end of the day, it's like, man, like I want to know what we have in Zeus White. It's hard even for me to kind of say that, oh yeah, with the conviction, like, oh yeah, Zeus White's the answer. Now I do like Zeus White. I do think he has Pro Bowl potential, but again, is that potential going to be in year 2 or is it going to be in year 4 or 5? And with this offensive line, I'm not so sure it's ever going to come to fruition because Josh Jacobs makes the offensive line look better than they really are. I'm not throwing shit at the offensive line. I like them, like Alex Bars, like Colton Miller, like Andre James, like Jermaine, like all these guys. All right. But then day, it's like, man, for Josh Jacobs to produce at the level he's producing with that offensive line says a lot about who Josh Jacobs is. Because let's face it, if you played running back, you're only as good as your offensive line. Just like a quarterback, he's only as good as his offensive line. If he's looking at the sky the whole time because he's flat on his back, well, of course he's going to look bad. But is it his fault or is it the offensive line's fault? Everything starts up front, down in the trenches. It makes receivers look better because now they have time to come in and out of their breaks off their, when depending on how they fly off their stem, how they run their routes, the timing between the quarterback and wide receiver, all that plays a role. On to Six says, Beast, thoughts on the last play and the O-line moves we have made. Look, the O-line moves we have made, they're doing their best to kind of solidify that. You guys got to remember, Justin Huron was here, and he played really well before tearing his ACL in practice. Remember him? Justin Huron, who I interviewed, got a lot of good feedback. Then went in the game, played really, really well, and then tore his ACL in practice, and boom, his season was over, just like that. Don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on him returning. And now I know coming off a torn ACL, you have a 70% chance of developing arthritis in the affected knee. But hey, ACL injuries in today's NFL are common. It's not a death sentence as it was 25 years ago because science and sports nutrition and all that technology plays a role. Xavier Foster said, McDonald's to learn finish and stop pressure, stick with what works. Same for Graham. Ouch. SVT Vasquez says, the real question is, who are you rooting for when the Raiders and Niners play? I know you covered both teams and sucks that Deebo got injured. Well, I guess I would say it's a no-brainer. Obviously, the silver and black, my guy, because I want the players to do well. When they do well, I do well. And it's all about good vibes only. Like for me to say, oh, I think I'd be bad to say, oh, yeah, I want the Niners to win. No, I want the Raiders to win all day, every day. And I'll be rooting for them on New Year's Day. If you guys are out to the game, holla at your boy. If you see me on the field, holla at your boy. Love engaging with you guys. I talked to a few of you guys last home game at Allegiant Stadium. And that's what it's about, man. Building up. And now there's going to be a lot of Niner fans who are there to see me too. I'm kind of anxious to see how they're going to treat me because they'll be like, oh, you're a traitor. You covered the Raiders now. Da, da, da. And trust me, I get all kinds of stuff. The whole entire year they'd be talking. And it's all good and fun, but some actually take it like for real. Like they think that I was a player on the team or something. And it's like, man, like it's my job. Like, I don't know. Anyways, I'm excited one way or the other. It is what it is. So now I want the Raiders to do well. Go silver and black, and you never turn back. All right. On to 6 says, Beast, thoughts on Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech? I have to watch more film on him. That will be after the season concludes. I do watch college film, and I do run grades on college players, but that will be after the season is over for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I'll give you the rundown on Tyree Wilson, as well as some sleepers that I think that the Raiders can have based on how the draft position holds up. Again, we don't know the draft position because the season's not over yet. All right, so I think that's going to wrap up this live stream. If you liked what I had to say, please hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of your screen as you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. Also, do me a solid if you're watching this video after this video concludes in real time or post live. Be sure to share this on all your social media. It will push to other Raider Nation to like the video as well. So if you're on Facebook, just share it on your Facebook profile. If you're on Twitter, just retweet the video. If you're on YouTube, obviously share the video as well. And it will really do us a solid here in the DOB because the bigger we get, the more prizes we can give out here in the DOB. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. And again, the bigger we get, the bigger the prizes. And yes, we're giving away these $20 socks, 20 each, obviously. And yeah, I spent $100 on you guys. Over $100. That's not even it. And we have more stuff here. What else we got here? We got that. Oh, yeah, there's some other stuff in there. Anyways, we got this Raider Nation rally towel. All right. And we got some other cool swag, silver and black swag. And we're launching our DOB swag as well. So you guys can purchase those once we launch those. And we'll be taking payments through Venmo. So again, thank you everyone for subscribing to the YouTube channel here. And also, if you're not on YouTube, get yourself a YouTube channel so you'll be entered for our DOB giveaways that we run every Family Friday and Saturday. All right, well, that'll be it for this live stream. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I know I did. And we'll be back doing it again tomorrow on the Pick 6 live stream segment. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good day. BEASTwriter out.